तो welcome to Ashutosh Coaching Center. Now today we are going to start chapter name is locomotion and movement. Start करते हैं. Movement क्या होता है? तो movement is the one of the significant feature of living beings and animals and plants and exhibits a wide range of movement and streaming of protoplasm in the unicellular organisms like amoeba is a simply formation of movement and the movement of cilia flagella tentacles are shown by many organisms. Humans beings can be move four limbs, jaw, eyes, AIIMS, tongues, etc. Some of the movement result in the change of place of location. Such voluntary movement are called locomotion. Walking, running, climbing, flying, swimming are all some forms of locomotory movements and locomotory structural needs to be different from those affecting the other type of movement. And for example, the paramecium cilia help in the movement of food and through the cytopharynx and in the locomotion as well. Okay, above the absorption and suggest the movement and the locomotion cannot be studied separately. The two may be linked by the stating and that all locomotion are the movement but all movement are not locomotion. Okay, the method of locomotion performed by the animals and vary with their habitat and the demands of the situation. However, the locomotion is generally for the search of the food, shelter, mate, and the suitable breeding and the groundnut favorable climatic condition or to escape from enemies. Okay, ओके, ये लास्ट वाला कुछ क्वेश्चन भी हम लोग करेंगे, तो ये देखना था कितने क्वेश्चन दे रखे हैं. तो अब स्टार्ट करते हैं और ये काफ़ी इम्पोर्टेंट है. वाह, ये काफ़ी इम्पोर्टेंट दे रखे हैं सारे के सारे चीज़. ओके नाउ, यहाँ तो कोई दिक्कत. हम्म. So now the above observation suggested that the movement and the locomotion cannot be studied separately and the may be linked by the starting locomotion or the movement but not our locomotion. Okay, method of locomotion performed by the animal vary from the habitat and the demand situation. However, the locomotion generally search of food, shelter, and mate and the suitable breeding ground, favorable and the climatic condition or to escape from the enemy's predators. Okay, ये सब बात हमने पहले भी पढ़ ली है. Movement of type of movement. Ambioid movement. The movement takes place in the phagocytes, leukocytes, and the macrophages migrate tissue through the tissue, and it is affected by the pseudopodia and formed by the streaming petroleum as in the muba. Ciliary movement क्या होता है? The movement occurs in the internal organs which are linear and ciliary epithelium. Muscular movement क्या होता है? The movement involves the muscles and the fibers which have ability to contract and the relax. Okay, and properties of muscles जैसे कि excitability, contractibility, extendability, elasticity. Types of muscles देखो तो skeletal muscles और striatal muscles and the vascular muscles, smooth muscles, cardiac muscles. ये सब क्या हमारे टाइप्स ऑफ मसल्स है. ओके, यहाँ तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं होनी चाहिए हालांकि. इस मसल्स के नाम भी बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट है, इसको आप लिख लो कहीं. इट इज सो इम्पोर्टेंट. एंड अब देखेंगे स्केलेटल मसल्स एंड और स्ट्रेटेड मसल. closely associated with skeletal, and they are stripped appearance under the microscope called the striated muscles, and they are under the voluntary control of the nervous system, hence called the voluntary muscle. And this involves in the locomotion and the change the body posture and unbranched and multinucleated. Visceral muscles or smooth muscles. These are located in inner wall of whole visceral organ and spindle shaped uninucleated, and they do not inhibit and any sensation and are smooth in appearance. They are smooth called smooth muscles or non striated muscles. Their activities are not under the voluntary control of the nervous system, hence called as the involuntary muscle. Six number है assist in the transport of food through the digestive tract and the gamete through the genital tract. Cardiac muscles. The muscles of heart involuntary in nature, and the cardiac muscles assemble in the branching pattern to the form a cardiac muscle. And the third number है इसका they are uninucleated with the characteristic and interskeletal disc. उसके बाद हमारा स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ स्केलेटल मसल. Each organized skeletal muscles in our body is made up of a number of muscles bundles called fascicle, and to held together by the common fibrosis and the covering called fascia. Second number है each fascia consists of a number of a muscles fiber cell and covered by the common fibrous perimysium. Example, much muscles fiber is lined by the plasma membrane and called sacrolemma and enclosing the cytoplasm called the sacroplasm. उसके बाद चौथा नंबर है sacroplasm contain the endoplasmic reticulum called sacroplasmic reticulum, and it is stored in storehouse of calcium ion. Muscle fiber is a syncytium as the sacroplasm contain the many nuclei. Sixth number है muscles fiber contain a large number of parallelly arranged filaments in the sacroplasm called the myofilaments or the myofibrils. The seven number has the arrangement of thick and thin filament gives the characteristic striated and appearance. Eight number the light band contain only the actin filaments are called I bands or isotropic band. Nine number the dark band called uh, or anisotropic band contain both actin and myosin. 10 number center of each first and band and is an elastic fiber called jet line and which bisect it. Okay, उसके बाद हमारा 11 number है the thick filament or actin are firmly attached with the Z line. उसके बाद thick filament or myosin with in the band and are also held together and in the middle by a thin fibrous membrane called M line. 13 number the portion between the two successive Z lines is considered as the functional unit of the muscles called the sacromere. Each A band contains two overlap zone of thick and the thin filament called O band. 15 number the central part of thick filament not overlapped by a thin filament is called H band. 16 number A band is equal to 2O plus H. उसके बाद हमारा टाइप्स ऑफ मिडरिप्स मतलब थोड़ी मायोफिब्रिल्स. उसमें हमारा एक है थिक होता है थिक फिलामेंट इसको एक्टिन कहते हैं और एक होता है थिक फिलामेंट इसको हम लोग कहते हैं मायोसिन. ओके हाँ यहाँ तक कोई दिक्कत किसी को नहीं होना चाहिए, होना ही नहीं चाहिए यहाँ तक किसी को कोई दिक्कत. कैसे हो जाएगा दिक्कत, दिक्कत भी तो हो, दिक्कत कैसे हो जाएगा भाई. उसके बाद हमारा आता है स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ सॉरी गलती से मुड़ गया द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्टाइल प्रोटीन. द फिलामेंट ऑफ एक्टिन फिलामेंट और एक्टिन के बारे में जान लेते हैं. each actin filament is made up of two F actin and the helically wounded to the each other, and each F actin is made up of polymer monomeric G and the globular actin. Each F actin associated with the another protein and the tripomyosin also run throughout its length. Another complex protein and the troponin is distributed at regular interval on the tripomyosin. Okay. Fifth number, in the resting state, a subunit of troponin and a TNT, TN2T, and marks the active binding sites on the thin filaments of for myosin. Sixth number है each troponin has three components. Troponin C bind with calcium, troponin M bind with the tripomycin, troponin T mask the active site of the G actin the filament. Thick filament क्या होता है? Each myosin thick filament is the consist of many monomeric protein called the myrosines. And second number है each myromyosin has two parts. First है HMM, LM heavy मेरोमायोसिन, जिसको हम लोग ग्लोबुलर हेड विद अ शॉर्ट आर्म कहते हैं। और उसके बाद सेकंड है हमारा लाइट मीरो मायोसिन, जिसको LMM कहते हैं, यानी कि टॉल होता है, वो टॉल होता है। ओके। थ्री नंबर होता है HMM कंपोनेंट। क्या होता है HMM कंपोनेंट? दैट इज हेड एंड द शॉर्ट आर्म प्रोजेक्ट on outwards at a regular distance and angle for each other or from the surface of a polymerized myosin filament and is known as the cross arm. Fourth, a globular head is an active ATPase and enzymes and has binding sites for ATP and active sites for the actin. उसके बाद हमारा मैकेनिज्म ऑफ मसल्स कॉन्ट्रैक्शन है। मैकेनिज्म ऑफ मसल्स contraction is explained by the sliding filament theory, and which states the contraction of a muscle's fibers takes place by the sliding of the thin filaments over the thick filament. Second है muscles contraction is initiated by the signal sent by the central nervous system via motor neurons. A motor neurons along with the muscles fiber connected to the constituent motor unit. Fourth number है junction between the motor neurons and the sacro बोलते नहीं sarcolemma of the muscles, and the fiber is called the neuromuscular junction or motor end plate. Neurotransmitter and releases here, and which generated an action and a potential in the sarcolemma. And the sixth number है these causes release and of a calcium C double plus into the sacroplasm. Seven number है this calcium double plus binds with the troponin and thereby remove masking of site active site. Myosin head bind to the exposed site on the active to the forms a cross bridge and utilizing energy from the ATP hydrolysis. 9 number है this pulls the actin filaments and toward the center of A band. 10 number है Z lines pulled inwards, thereby the causing and shortening of sarcomere, that is contraction. 11 number है I band get reduced via A band retain length during the relaxation and the cross bridge between the actin and the myosin break. Calcium double plus pumped back to the sacroplasm crystal and the actin filament side out a band, and a length of I band increases. This turned the muscles to its original state, and the repeated muscle contraction causes the accumulation of lactic acid produced from the anaerobic breakdown of glycogen, leads to the muscle fatigue. 16 number, the muscles contain the red colored oxygen storing the pigment and called myoglobin. उसके बाद 17 नंबर है मसल्स विद मायोग्लोबिन called red muscles fiber. They are also large number of mitochondria which can be utilized the large amount of oxygen stored in them for the ATP production, also called aerobic muscles. Okay, aerobic muscles. 18 नंबर में क्या बोल रहा है, सम मसल्स पोसेसेस वेरी लेस क्वांटिटी ऑफ मायोग्लोबिन एंड लेस माइटोकॉन्ड्रियन हेंस द कॉल्ड वाइट fibers. Amount of cytoplasmic reticulum is high in these muscle and they depend on the anaerobic process for the energy. स्केलेटल सिस्टम क्या होता है? हाँ, उसके बाद अब देख स्केलेटल सिस्टम के कुछ पार्ट देखे जो बहुत ज़्यादा ही इंपॉर्टेंट है, हद से ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट, बोलते नहीं हद से ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है ये सब, इसको अपने याद कर लो ज़्यादा बेटर ही होगा। एक मिनट सॉरी गलती से बैक हो गया। नाउ स्टार्ट करते हैं हम लोग। स्केलेटन के बारे में देखो, स्केलेटन में देखा जाए तो करीब 206 हड्डी होते हैं ना, 206 हड्डी में जो 80 होते हैं उसके एक्सियल होते हैं और 126 जो होते हैं वो एक ये अपेंडिकुलर होते हैं, ठीक है बोन्स। अब उसमें देखोगे एक्सियल में देखोगे तो उसमें कम से कम स्कल जो होते हैं 29 होते हैं, क्रैनियम जो होते हैं 8 बोन्स फ्रॉम द ब्रेन्स बॉक्स होते हैं, फैकियल जो होते हैं ना वो करीब होते हैं हमारे 14 बोन्स, ओके। एंड हाई बोल्ड में देखोगे तो अ सिंगल यू शेप बोन एट द बेस ऑफ ब्यूकल कैविटी एंड ईयर ऑसिकल में देखोगे तो 6 बोन्स एंड 3 ऑन द आइदर साइड मैलस इनकस स्टेप्स एंड द स्कल region articulates with the superior origin of the vertebral column with the help of two occipital and the conidal, hence called diaconidalic skull, ओके। यहाँ तो किसी को कोई दिक्कत तो बोलना। और अगर देखा जाए तो इसमें इसका रोटेटर पहले से ऑफ कर लेते हैं, आई थिंक ये बार बार रोटेट कर जा रहा है। आगे देखेंगे तो हमारा आता है द स्कल रीजन एक्यूलेटेड, तो जान ही लिए इसका वर्टिब्रेट कॉलम जो होता है वो करीब 26 बोन्स में होता है। सर्विकल में देखो तो 7 वर्टिब्रे होते हैं, थोरासिक में देखो तो 12 वर्टिब्रे होते हैं, लंबर में देखो तो 5 वर्टिब्रे होते हैं, सैक्रल में देखो तो 1 वर्टिब्रे होते हैं जिसमें 5 हड्डी होते हैं, एंड द कॉर्नर में देखो तो 1 वर्टिब्रे होते हैं, ओके। उसके बाद देखोगे the sternum or a breastbone, one bone in the middle line of the thorax, ribs 12 pairs and 24 bones, 1 to 7 true ribs and the connected to the sternum directly. 8th, 9th, 10th pair are called also false rib. They are attached to the 7th ribs. Okay, 11th and 12th are not connected to ventrally, hence called floating ribs. The ribs attach dorsally to the vertebra and the ventrally with the sternum by the hyaline cartilage. The thoracic vertebrae ribs and the sternum hub together the rib cage. The appendicular skeletal देखोगे तो करीब 126 होते हैं, ओके। सो 126 में अच्छे से देखोगे तो फोर लिम्ब होते हैं 60 30 इंच के, ह्यूमरस होते हैं एक बोन, रेडियस अनला 2 एंड कार्पल्स 8, रिस्ट बोन, मेटा कार्पल्स पाम बोन्स 5 इन नंबर एंड द phalanges 8 digits and 4 in number, hind limbs 60 to 30 inch and the femur thigh bones and the longest and the heaviest bone 1 number, and the tibia and the fibula 2 bones, and the tarsal and ankle bones 7 bones, metatarsal यानी 5 in number, एंड फ्लेंजर डिजिट जो होता है 14 होते हैं, 14 in नंबर, एंड द पेटेलिया जो होते हैं नी कैप जो 1 होते हैं 1 बोन, एंड आगे देखो द पेक्टोरल गैडिट्स एंड द कंसिस्ट 2 बोन्स ईच में 4 बोन होते हैं, एंड द हेल्प इन द आर्टिकुलेशन ऑफ 4 लिम्ब विद द एक्सियल skeleton and the each pectoral girdle made of two halves, each half made up of bone and the clavicle scapula. Scapula is a large triangular flat bone situated in the dorsal part of the thorax and between the second and the seventh ribs. Scapula is characterized by the spine and the acromion processes. Below the acromyelin and is glenoid cavity to which head of humerus fits, and the clavicle is commonly called collar bone. Pelvic girdle, two bones, and the pelvic girdle consists of coxal bone, and each coxal bone is formed of the fusion of three bones and the ilium, ischium, pubis. At the end of fusion of three bones is a cavity called the actabulum, to which femur and articulate two halves of the pelvic girdle meet ventrally to form pubic and the symphysis containing the fibrosis cartilage. Joint. Joint are the point of contact between the bones or between the bones and the cartilage. The force generated by the muscles is used to carry out movement through joint, and where joint act as fulcrum. And the joint are classified into three types: fibrous joint, cartilaginous joint, sineval joint. Fibrous joint क्या होता है देखो. Fibrous joint do not allows any movement and found at flat bones which is used fuse end to end and with the help of dense fibrous connective tissue in the form of structure. 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 These types of bones joints are found in the bones or cranium. Cartilaginous bone. The bones involved are joined together with the help of cartilages and permit a very little movement and joint between the vertebral column and are the example of such joint. Synovial joint क्या होता है? They are characterized by the presence of a fluid and a fluid fluid filled and the synovial cavity between the art articulating surface of the two bones. And second point है allow free movement between two bones. Fluid inside the called synovial fluid covered by the synovial membrane, and ball and cycle joint between the humerus and the pectoral girdles, a hinge joint, joint, pivot joint, and between the atlas and the axis, and the gliding joint between the carpus and the saddle joint between the carpal and the metacarpal of thumbs. Okay. इसके बाद देखो तो डिसऑर्डर ऑफ द मसल्स एंड द स्केलेटल सिस्टम देखा जाए तो इसमें है मियास्थेनिया गैविस एंड द ऑटो इम्यून डिसऑर्डर अफेक्टिंग द न्यूरोमस्कुलर जंक्शन लीडिंग टू द फैटिग्यू एंड द वीकिंग एंड द पैरालिसिस और स्केलेटल मसल. उसके बाद हमारा है मस्कुलर डिस्ट्रॉफी क्या होता है. प्रोग्रेसिव डिजेनरेशन ऑफ स्केलेटल मसल्स मोस्टली ड्यू टू द जेनेटिक डिसऑर्डर. उसका टेक्निक क्या होता है. रैपिड स्पैम्स वाइल्ड कॉन्ट्रैक्शन इन द मसल्स ड्यू टू द लो कैल्शियम डबल प्लस इन द बॉडी फ्लूइड. अब उसके आर्थराइटिस क्या होता है. इम्प्लांटेशन ऑफ जॉइंट. ऑस्टियोपोरोसिस क्या होता है. तो एज रिलेटेड डिसऑर्डर कैरेक्टराइज्ड बाय द डिस्क्रीट बोन मास एंड इंक्रीज चांस ऑफ फ्रैक्चर एंड डिक्रीज लेवल ऑफ एस्ट्रोजन इज अ कॉमन कॉज. गाउट क्या होता है. द इन्फ्लेमेशन ऑफ जॉइंट ड्यू टू द एक्यूमुलेशन ऑफ यूरिक एंड एसिड क्रिस्टलाइन. ओके, इसे हम लोग गाउट कहते हैं. सो गाइस, थैंक्स फॉर watching video till the end and you are a part of journey of needs. So as you can जितना ज़्यादा हो सके लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब करें. बाय बाय एंड सी यू नेक्स्ट वीडियो.